So I'll take this time to walk you through some of the gaps, the perceived skill gaps, which we have found working with the graduates from across all the sectors, and try to map it with the rising employer expectations, what those are, and we'll talk about then later about some of the initiatives we have taken to address those gaps. So let's look at a framework in terms of what are the employability skills and what are the, more importantly, entry-level employability skills. So if you look at it, there are, in our opinion, there are four key areas, and the earlier speakers, talked about some of those. So one key area is around what is called as general aptitude skills. And here I'll take some time to talk about the micro details because this is about the graduates, the people inside our colleges. So these aptitude skills, they are typically bucketed into three categories. Quantitative skills, about numerical aptitude, business math, analytical skills around logical reasoning, data sufficiency, how do you think better, sharper, and the verbal skills, this can be as basic as synonym, antonyms, sentence completion, things like that. And employers typically evaluate entry-level graduates, on this criteria. Then it goes down to domain skills. These are, these are hard skills. This is what people study during 4 or 5 years when they're inside colleges. Computer science, actual software programming, accountancy, automobile engineering. It's your core hard domain skills. Communication skills, how you express yourself, how you speak, how you present, how you write. And in this interconnected world, the digital skills, they are becoming very important. Basic computer literacy, how do you actually become digitally savvy? And also, how do you use software relevant to your particular profession? So if you look at it, aptitude skills in general are used by employers for filtering. They actually sort a lot of applicants out based on a test, a simple aptitude test. While domain skills, communication skills, and digital skills are what employers pay premium for. So if you are a software developer and if you can really present well, you can command a higher salary than perhaps somebody who's not so articulate. There's an interesting intersection between digital skills and domain skills. So you may be a very good accountant, but if you are not really well conversant with the use of spreadsheets or the accounting software, you may not be perceived by the employers to be that valuable. Hence, domain communication and digital skills are normally accompanied by certifications, the academic certifications, international certifications, quality packs by players like NSDC, etc., which we focus on. So as a company, Talent Sprint, we offer programs in IT, in banking, in teachers training, and we try to intersect all these 4 skill categories, in all our programs. Obviously, out of these 4 skill categories, there can be things like, time management, how do you interact with your team members, which are primarily around professional skills, and those are also required at the entry level. So with this framework, I'll try to walk you through what we have seen working with the employers from a large industry, IT industry. A lot of people here are from engineering colleges. A lot of engineering graduates are coming out. So we'll walk you through how IT industry is looking at these skills, what are they looking for, and more specifically, what are the skill gaps in each of these areas. So if you look at a typical IT industry, what's a typical selection process? Industry would say we need people with this kind of academic background, computer science, electronics, circuit streams, in some specific cases, people from any engineering background, even science graduates. Then they filter them on general aptitude. It's a selection process in some stage, but at in the largest level, it's a filtration process. And then they evaluate on technical skills, on software programming, on testing. Depending on the nature of the company, if it's a product company, this evaluation may be much more rigorous. Maybe it's a services company, they look at a different kind of skill set. And then this all selection process culminates in what's called an assessment for soft skills, in terms of group discussions, in terms of HR interviews. Do you fit in with my company culture, etc. So that's what typical companies follow in general. Obviously, depending on the specific context, this process may vary slightly. So let's look at this area of general aptitude testing, and we'll talk about some of the specific skill gaps which we have found working with graduates in this area. So what we did was, we have created this program called Talent Sprint Aptitude Test. This is designed to replicate broadly the hiring pattern of employers, employers primarily from the IT industry. And we have created, based on our assessment and learning, typical employability thresholds across quantitative ability, analytical skills, and verbal ability. Now, how we have arrived at that? As a company, we work, Shantanu talked about, more than 250 employers. They have leveraged our model. So we have insight into how they actually hire and what are their hiring patterns. We recently got the first phase of TSAT. It was completed in October. And we got significant participation from the southern states, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, also from Maharashtra and some other parts of the country. So just look at the profile in this space, 35,000 people, 34,000 college graduates participated in TSAT. The participation, as I said, was primarily in the southern part of the country. It was well balanced in terms of male-female gender ratio. Almost 60% of the participants were males. Around 80% of them were engineers, which is kind of understood based on the typical supply profile in these parts of the country. And there also was a degree of participation from other parts. So we look at it from an overall performance standpoint. What we have found kind of links with what other studies, other research reports are talking about. We think 1 in 4, which is around 25% of people, do meet employability threshold norms. If you look at it, this varies across sections, but it's a sad situation. 3 out of 4 people would not really clear the general aptitude filter of a typical IT company. And this again, just to be sort of caveated, this is our first phase finding from TSAT. These, the results may vary, but 1 in 4 students fits in with what other research reports or other agencies are talking about. If you look at performance of engineers versus non-engineers, engineers score better than non-engineers in general. But we have found that in the area of verbal ability, non-engineers actually are doing better. And again, as I said, this is a function of the first sample set. But again, if you look at it from employability threshold perspective, the common employer expectation is not really being met in any of these areas. Let's look at this from another angle in terms of how a gender profile, how men candidates are doing versus women candidates. Again, males are doing on an aggregate, getting an aggregate better score, but women are doing better in the area of verbal ability. Again, a lot of women come from a liberal arts background. Perhaps that's what is coming out in this particular study. Let's look at another area, which is the area of core technical skills. As a company, we have been working with a large number of graduates. A lot of them have a degree in computer science and are looking for a job in IT industry to become a software programmer or a software tester. So let's look at our experience, what it has been in this particular skill set. So the good news first, if you look at it, especially for the audience in this room, a lot of demand is coming in from South. If you look at the NASSCOM study, which was done along with NSDC, 60% of the demand for talent in the IT industry is in these states, southern states, which are very well represented in this particular room. Now, what are employers looking for? Again, this is the intersection of vast skill set, findings done by NASSCOM along with NSDC. 75% of the organizations require basic skills on Java, .NET, and testing. That's what they are looking for, right? They also will look for skills in the areas of cloud computing, as cloud gets adopted across enterprises. And if we, as from a college perspective, from an academic community perspective, focus on this, this can be an added advantage for employers, can be a differentiator as well. But the sad news, more than 2/3 of the organizations, close to 70%, explicitly report a significant skill gap at the entry level. So in the core basic entry level skills, software development using Java, .NET, or testing, 70% employers find significant amount of skill gap in the technical skill areas among computer science engineers, etc. Also want to share you some of the specifics around that, here I'll go to some level of detail. If you look at the IT industry, we evaluate people when they come into talent sprint, and we evaluate them on 4 or 5 broad sort of competencies from a IT standpoint. Do you understand operating systems, databases? Are you familiar with high-level programming language, the OO concepts, and web development? Basic skills which an entry-level IT engineer, a person aspiring for a job in an IT industry should have acquired, in the course of last 4 years in the colleges. But here again, there's a significant gap. The gap varies based on the skill categories, but there's a large amount of gap between what employers expect versus what graduates have in terms of studied or acquired skills over the last 4 years. If you compare our country with say Western countries, if you compare us with the US or Europe, A lot of these gaps don't exist. In fact, their whole framework of evaluating the entry-level graduates is very different from ours. We are still actually, talking about very basics, and there is significant skill gap all across. Outside of this, as we work with graduates and also at times when we go to companies and work with their entry-level, hires, we found that there are more technical shortcomings which industry expects. For instance, how industry develops software, how industry tests software, what tools and processes are used. Dr. Rangana talked about the economics. I mean, there are people study economics, but the tools they are not able to apply to a practical problem at hand. The same true holds for engineers and in respect to IT industry. For instance, unit testing for a computer science graduate. A lot of them are unaware of this construct called unit testing to begin with. A lot of people have not read code. They don't know how to read a code, which is a skill perhaps which will be expected for them in their first job when they'll be asked to maintain and support a particular application or a piece of software. So the point is that coming out of colleges, having learned computer science and related streams over the last 4 years, they really lack the core skills, the basic technical skills, the tools of the trade which would make them employable. And it's a sad situation which you have to all remedy together. Let's look at the third area, communication skills. People talked about it. Very important in today's global construct. You got to really express yourself, got to work across cultures with your team, with your colleagues, spread across geographies. So let's see what our findings are in this particular skill area. So we are working with the top engineering college, one of the very aspirational engineering college, one of the top 20 institutes in the country actually. And these are the findings of our, the result of, as we are working with them. We actually evaluated 1,200 students from this top engineering college, and it's really one of the premium colleges in the country. I won't obviously name them, but if we evaluate 1,200 students across BTech and also some MTech and PhD students using an industry standard tool across communication, basically which, how well a person can understand English in a given work context. Evaluate them on speaking skills, listening skills, reading and writing skills. So it's a very comprehensive evaluation using a tool set. But 57% of these people, students in this one of the top elite engineering college of the country, they were found below the line of professional employability. So, kind of a very sad, sad thing for us. We are working with them to, help improve this this number. But this is also pretty startling. So I'll just try to summarize, the employability challenge. This is the funnel I used when I started the presentation. If you look at general aptitude, we think engineers, quantitative abilities is guaranteed given. Maybe you have to work on the communication skills. That's not really true. A lot of engineers, a lot of graduates have, a significant delta in terms of basic quant skills, basic ability to understand and use math, right? And that's something which is non-negotiable, non-acceptable. Technical skills, they have mastered exams, they all have got very good grades, but they haven't got any chance to apply this knowledge in practice. In fact, that format is just not available where actually you can learn by doing things, by hands-on experience. That's a big challenge for us in our our ecosystem. We have to create those constructs to address this gap. And then I gave this example. I think poor communication skills. That's obviously a challenge, and a lot of people don't get selected by employers because of that. But as Dr. Rangana said, every crisis is an opportunity. This is an opportunity, and I'm sure conversations like this will help us all work together to make sure that with the right skills, the employers and employers want actually more and more. I mean, from an economic standpoint, it's a good news. They are looking for more and more number of people. If we can actually work together, give them the right skills, they'll be able to actually embark upon a career. And as colleges, as partners in the academic ecosystems, colleges will be able to differentiate themselves in the eyes of the employers. Will be able to forge lasting, deep relationships, which will help the colleges and also help the students and help the country. I'll stop here. Thank you so much for your time. In the later part of the day, I'll talk about some specific initiatives. My colleague Shida will do that. Thank you so much.